This is going to be a look at some Roquan Smith film from mostly 2022, Week 6 and Week 7. Tried to get the most recent film that I could. It will not include two of his interceptions. The website that I used to download the plays, for whatever reason, doesn't show the interceptions. But look, man, this is a unique talent. I've got a lot to say about his ability level. And I'm going to show you, I think, about 25 plays. I think I watched 60 plays overall from Week 6 and Week 7. And then I had some plays saved up from 2021. I was never able to complete a film study on him, but I did do one on Robert Quinn in the offseason. And I was able to go find some plays from that. I have the same thoughts that I had back then. He's a very unique talent. I'm going to go over some of my notes that I had developed in the offseason that I never, like I said, I never completed the film study. He's very physical. The whole run he runs around blocks thing, I don't get it. I don't. He occasionally jukes people to make the tackle, which is a special skill. You can call it what you want. I can call it what I want. Like, I'm not used to coaching inside linebackers that are as athletic as Roquan Smith. So, like, I would be teaching them a different technique because the guys I coached aren't as athletic to him as him. I would be teaching them what I call ricochet technique, but he does it his own way and it works. He's the best athlete on this Ravens defense right now. He is. I mean, David Ojabo is comparable because he's an edge rusher, and so there's a different set of skills. But Roquan Smith has incredible burst. Athletically, his ability to adjust. Very smart player. I described it to a friend of mine in our Discord as he's more athletic, stronger, a better tackler than Patrick Queen, and he appears to be as smart as Josh Bynes. Sounds like hyperbole, I know. I kind of can't believe I'm saying it. Like 90 minutes ago, I was prepared to make a good to very good assessment, and then I watched 60 plays from Week 6 and Week 7, like I said, and I was blown away. A great athlete, like I said. The thing that he does that is very unique, if you ask me, is he adjusts mid-play, and I just don't know that you can coach that. You'll see two examples of it, I think, here early on from 2021. He can be blitzing and adjust to what the quarterback does. I think he's got great eyes, number one. I think he must do incredible film study for real, because I just don't know how someone adjusts mid-play so consistently well and is always in the right spot. He's got an ability to show up on run plays everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Are there times he goes around blocks, underneath of them? Yeah, but he gets to the ball. That's all I know. He stays on track with the running back. There's some concepts that I haven't seen, so my concerns are always like split zone, why hide play action stuff, RPOs. Is he going to bite on RPOs? I'll show you one later on in the film where he does not. Does he bite on play action some? Yeah, he does. That's true. He plays downhill at angles, at good angles. I did find two plays of him covering someone that'll show up later in the film. I'm not going to tell you who that person is. He's not blanketing them. He's not covering a wide receiver 30 yards downfield. Actually, it's two different players, excuse me. One of them is a receiver and one of them is a running back, where he understands his leverage and he does not give up his leverage. And we have seen many linebackers give up leverage before. So those are some of my notes. I think he's a very unique player. I am a complete fan of the trade with no exceptions, whether he signs here or not. All right, there he is. And this is an example of what he does to offensive linemen. 2021. Yeah, Robert Quinn is involved with the tackle here, okay? Robert Quinn had an amazing season for the Bears in 2021. But watch what he does to the center. So just so you know, here's Quinn. Quinn's going to run this tight end down the line. He's going to be the guy that makes first contact. Okay, cool. But this center is stepping to Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith's going to take two little jab steps and just cut underneath of him. This is unique. Short area quickness. He just basically juked a center and then got involved with the tackle, which I think was credited to Robert Quinn. Unique player, and you get a great example of it here. I think Quinn actually plays this a little incorrectly, but there's Smith. I think that's Robert Quinn here. We'll let it run a couple of times so you can see it, and I'll talk about it, where I think the concept is for the Bears in terms of trying to stop. It's a short yardage play. It's the Steelers' go-to double wing formation in short yardage. I think it's a 4th and 1. Double wing meaning you got a tight end and a wing on the left, and then a tight end and a wing on the right. In this case, Claypool. They've been using this since 2020, and they run the sweep with Claypool. Give it to him because he's such an athlete. Sometimes they'll hand it off to the running back going in the same direction. Sometimes they'll bring it back, the running back here, whatever. But watch what you see the tackle, right, that Smith makes. He sees the ball handed off, and he takes off. All right, they get the first down. Fine. The point is, this tackle is designed to be made inside of this edge player here, if it's run to the offense's right, defense's left, or this edge player here, which is Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn happens to be going inside on this. Take a look at it over there. He's going up against 88. And because he's going inside of this, it doesn't force the running back, or in this case, Claypool, to cut it up where Smith would go and meet him. He's able to go outside of that block of Quinn, and then Smith meets him. And when he tackles people, I mean, he hits you hard. He's a physical player. He's a physical tackler. They have him listed at 234, I think, in terms of weight. He's a strong guy. All right, this is Roquan Smith. I am 99% sure because the Chicago Bears all-22 angle is awful. And I think that's DeAndre Hopkins. This is 2021. He stays balanced. The one thing I will say is occasionally, once he's covering someone, he's very aware. All right, he's able to keep his eyes on the quarterback while covering someone. We as Ravens fans, me personally, I have a little bit of an issue with that because sometimes a quarterback will extend the play like Kyler Murray does here, and eventually that receiver could find himself open, let's just say running onto some space where you were covering him, in great relationship at one point, and then you left him because you saw that the quarterback broke the pocket. You'll see a couple of examples of that later. But what I like about this is he doesn't give up his leverage. He doesn't overcommit to these steps to the outside when he's got leverage out there, meaning he's got a defender to help him, also a safety over the top. And in a moment, you're going to see him cover Saquon Barkley in a similar manner, but just the opposite. Barkley's going to try to sell him to the inside, and Roquan Smith doesn't go for it. Ball's not thrown there. I'm not saying to you that, and I think that's DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, I believe it is. I'm not saying to you that if he runs like, a climb route or middle of the field, that Roquan Smith's going to be able to cover him. I'm just showing you an example of where he looks pretty damn good in coverage, staying on his leverage side because he understands he's got a corner outside of him. He knows where his help is. We, as Ravens fans, we've seen people not play it very well in similar situations the last couple of years. This is what I generally think you're going to get from him. You will get the end zone angle of this one. I think this is Roquan Smith here, and I believe he's covering this tight end in this empty formation. Like I said, the Bears all-22 always looks weird to me. I don't know why. It's very high angle, but in any case, Smith is just covering a tight end. I mean, he's absolutely capable of doing this. Man to man. No ifs, ands, or buts. He's capable of doing this. How often will he be asked to do this for the Ravens? Not much. They're not going to ask him to cover the tight end very much. Here he is communicating with the other inside linebacker, and then I think he communicates with a DB off screen. What I like is he's lined up outside of the tight end he's guarding, 83. So he's got an alignment to allow him to complete his assignment. He's not lined up in here on the line of scrimmage and then buzzing out of here and expected to run with a tight end who's got him out leveraged, meaning he's closer to the sideline. In this case, Smith is closer to the sideline, easily able to stay with him. Robert Quinn gets a sack. Again, that's 2021 film. All right, last one. And they motion, this is the Giants 2021 motion into this quads set. Here's Roquan Smith. This is a sack forced fumble by Robert Quinn. I believe it's Quinn. That's not what we're here to look at. We're here to look at Roquan Smith. So you got Barkley coming out of the backfield, all right? And you got all these routes that running backs do where they bring it back and cross the linebacker's face. Maybe they put their inside foot in the ground and they bring it back to the sideline. In some cases, like a Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley, they turn the thing upfield. All right, let's watch how Roquan Smith doesn't give up his... Now, in terms of leverage, he's far inside leverage. Okay, so he should never give up his leverage here to the inside and let that running back cross his face. My point is, this is just another example of him understanding where his leverage is, where the sideline is, and then being able to use his speed if the ball is thrown to Saquon Barkley and run him down to the sideline. You know, whether you're able to tackle Saquon Barkley at that point, and whose guess is it? All right, so end zone angle, Smith, Barkley clearly has him out leveraged to the sideline. You can see the little fake that Barkley gives. I like how balanced he stays in these situations. You know, he comes back to balance, drops his hips, and then he's able to redirect in either direction. If he needed to push off of his left foot, you know, because Barkley was trying to cross his face, I think he'd be able to. If he has to push off his right foot, which he does here in a moment, and go horizontally to track Barkley, he's able to do it. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Am I saying he's a shutdown pass coverage guy? No. He's just not as bad as people have made him out to be. And his ability to adjust mid-play, I think, is unique. I think this is a blitz, and he sees the running back slip out. Maybe he's responsible for the running back. So he adjusts mid-play. I think he's going to fit underneath the running back here, but he's got his eyes somehow. Maybe one eye is looking at the running back and one is looking at the quarterback. He sees that the quarterback is not throwing the ball and attacks him. You get the end zone angle. Let me know if you see this the same way as I do. I see a guy who has tremendous awareness pre-snap and during the play. Some of those situations during the mid-play, you can coach a little bit of that, but you can't make someone react so efficiently and so effectively to everything that happens on every given football play. You know, there is a part of it that's instinct or learned behavior or just awareness. And here you've got a guy, if you ask me, who has tremendous awareness when something appears to be popping open and he wants to try to cover it up. Let's look at some 2022 film. Again, this is going to be week 7 and week 6. I think this is actually week 7 first. First and 10 going to be a draw play. Another fog bowl, it looks like, in New England. They're all 22 is always this weird color. It's a draw to Mac Jones, I think. And there's a lot going on for Roquan Smith here. He's got a tight end who originally chipped Quinn and then goes underneath. Simultaneous to that, looks like you've got a running back coming up to block him. And then you've got a guy who's just balling right now, Jaquan Brisker, as a force player who comes up and helps make the tackle. He's everywhere. Brisker and Roquan Smith. 2nd and 7, first possession, I believe. And you get a play action. Does he bite hard on play action? Yeah, he does. He wants to play against the run. He's an aggressive guy. So this is kind of what you get, to me, if you ask me, in a lot of these situations. But in my opinion, he's good at getting underneath stuff. You can see the route that's developing behind him. He's fitting in a direct line for that. And simultaneous to that, I think he has awareness of this running back slipping out into the flats to his left, our top side of the screen. How do I know that? Because he makes the tackle. He seems to be a guy who maybe you can fool him with play action, but he's got the athletic ability, and he stays square once he gets back here that he can redirect. He redirects well mid-play. I didn't say that in the intro in the opening. 3rd and 10. How do you get away from him? Well, when they line up in this, and this is something the Ravens have seen a lot of, right? And we have rarely run these plays against it. We should. We should run the ball more often against that look. You can see that it's there, but it's a great play by, if it's not Roquan Smith in 2022, it's Jaquan Brisker. This is Jaquan Brisker right here. And I think they have pinned Smith. Smith, like I said, he does go underneath or around blocks sometimes. So here he is going underneath of this block, and it just doesn't put him in any type of angle to get to the ball. It's not his fault, though, but let's just point out Brisker. I did a video on him a couple of weeks ago. When I get to the best rookie safeties in the league just thus far, I mean, it's going to be kind of hard not to have Brisker right up there at the top. So it's not like every play that I'm showing you, Roquan Smith is making every play. Okay, 3rd possession, I think you get a run play. Back up one. 2nd and 10, 5-yard run. All right, this is a zone or stretch scheme away from him. Here he is here, and the tackle, the left tackle, is going to try to get out to him. And watch Roquan Smith just go beat the guy to the spot and then get involved with the tackle. I think he got a split tackle here. If you're missing him, I'll pause it here in a moment. I'm trying to discipline myself to let it run twice for you guys before I start pausing it. All right. So again, Roquan Smith is right here. Pin wouldn't work. You can see the stretch action away, with the running back going here. And this tackle is trying to get to Smith. Smith's going to beat him. He's going to beat the tackle and then make the tackle. Look, every play for an inside linebacker has a different threat in terms of the blocking scheme. Are you going to have to attack blockers? Sometimes, sure, yeah. Sometimes you'll be on block. Check this one out. Kind of like an F counter a little bit. I think this H-back is going to pull around. And that's a trigger for Roquan Smith. Very decisive. Clean reader, if you ask me. Doesn't hesitate when he gets a read that he's practiced and that he's aware of. Look, he's right there to fit on the inside of this kick-out block by that tight end or that H-back who pulled from the other side of the field. Yeah, he doesn't finish with a complete tackle, but the point is he is a very, very adept reader of the football in terms of run plays, and he will fit where he's supposed to on run action, if you ask me. 1st and 10, same possession after the change of the quarter. You get both angles of this one. He's a physical guy. When you get the end zone angle, you'll see what I mean. Here he is here. No, it's not like he has a safety outside of him to help him out. So, if the running back bounces it, he's got to take off and fit outside there, outside that block. And it looks to me like, some running backs would do that. But Roquan Smith, to me, he's able to fit downhill when he needs to and match the running back, or off tackle if the running back was to bounce it, which in this case he does not. Roquan Smith fits it directly inside what I think, I guess it's a C-gap. And then he folds over the running back backwards. He's a physical guy. He understands the fabric of the game is physicality. I think the talent, the athleticism, the awareness, all of it is there with this guy. The thing that I really like that kind of really pushes everything over the top is the physicality. Finishing the play the way the game's supposed to be finished. You can say whatever you want about folding people up backwards. That's the way the game has been played for decades, and I don't see any reason to change it. All right, there was an interception to end that possession, which I think was the Patriots' 3rd possession. Now you're on their 4th possession. And this one is somewhat similar to that play I showed you against the Bengals from 2021. He's kind of hidden here behind the camera, all right? It's going to be this short toss to the running back who then cuts it back. Watch what Roquan Smith does to this lineman, and then he makes the tackle. I don't even know if the right tackle touched him. I guess he touched him with his left hand. Should Roquan Smith do that? Should he, the guys that I would, should he take him on with his right shoulder and try to knock this, offensive lineman back this way, condense the gap? Yeah, that's the way you want to coach it, but you've got Roquan Smith. He's not the dudes I've coached. He's not the dudes that we've seen with the Ravens for real. I don't know the comparison to make for a level of athleticism at inside linebacker here. I really don't. There's only one guy athletically to compare to him, and I'm just not going to do that we've had at inside linebacker. It's a unique player. That's why I use the word unique repeatedly. That is not something that I can, tell a guy to do. 3rd and 6. I think he gets a sack. Maybe he's not involved in the sack. He's just involved in the rush. Oh, this is his delayed rush. Yeah, this is the burst that he has. We do this a lot with Queen, though. So where's he going to be, to project? Is he going to be a blitzer? Is he going to be a rusher? Probably not. But if you have 2 of them, I'm all for it. Will there be times that Queen's off the field? Maybe. I doubt if there'll be times that Roquan Smith is off the field. You're talking about a guy who's played every single snap for the Bears this year. Get the all-22 angle of the same play. Roquan Smith's lined up here. These videos continue to be longer and longer, and Part of me wants to do some short content for you guys, but I feel like you hearing my evaluation makes more opportunities for me to be wrong, which is a good thing in this case. Like if Roquan Smith comes here and he's making 6 tackles a game and you're not getting these impact plays, I was clearly wrong. Or we're not coaching inside linebackers well, but I don't think that's the case this year. If it was 2021, I would say it's the case. All right, switching gears, week 6, Washington. Bunch of run plays that he's involved in. 1st and 10, first possession. Think first play of the game, might be wrong. Unblocked. That's a thing that some of us, a couple of guys we were messaging on Twitter about, Bears fans saying, oh, when he's unblocked, he's a terror. Well, he is unblocked sometimes. And he will fit things correctly even when he is blocked, if you ask me. I'm a big fan. Had not watched a ton of Roquan Smith films, so for me it was a little bit of a revelation in terms of how high of a level he's playing at. You get this 2-by-2 formation by Washington, 2 receivers to the right, the downside of the screen, and then 2 tight ends up at the top. And they're in their nickel set, so they're not matching it in terms of a 5th defensive lineman, a 3-4 look. I believe this is a corner, and I think that's Jaquan Brisker, a safety. I think this is either a nickel or a will linebacker. So if that's a will linebacker, then they're in a 4-3 look. But this guy is playing an edge, and that's a corner. And I think Roquan Smith does a great job of this. Goes underneath of the tight end's block. My bad, I didn't tell you guys where he was. He's the top side linebacker right here. He's the boundary side inside linebacker. Watch him go under, and you will get the end zone angle of this too. Watch him go underneath of this tight end's block. And just so you know, he is the guy at the bottom of that pile. The other linebacker folds, and this is awesome, example of sometimes the front side guy fits it underneath something, and what's that allow the backside guy to do? Fold over the top. It's not always this nice, clean, let me set it back inside to the backside guy. Sometimes you basically spill it as the front side linebacker, but just so you know, that is Roquan Smith right there at the bottom of the pile. And you'll see the end zone angle, and you won't necessarily get a great angle view of him making the tackle because there's just a whole bunch of bodies in there. So this is the same play. Again, the boundary's over here. And I might be wrong. I think that's a DB off screen. Maybe that is a D lineman. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, 33, it's a DB or safety. And you can see Smith is going underneath the block, and the other linebacker is able to fold over the top. But it doesn't mean that Smith is he's not just ripping inside. He's still getting involved with the tackle. 53 fits it perfectly, and Smith is right there. You guys tell me what you think. You're watching this live. It's not like I've watched this 12 times. I've watched these plays maybe 4 times. Jaquan Brisker with his first career sack, I think, off the edge. Covered this in the film study about him. This is something I've seen Smith do 3 times, is fake the blitz and then peel back. Kind of like the Dolphins and the Bengals have done in that, sticks blitz zero stuff against us, trying to occupy an interior blocker and then peel back to maybe cover a slant or a running back or something like that. You can see that they've got 2 guys doing that here. Interesting stuff. I don't have time to watch a ton of film on some of these other teams that we don't see. If they're not an AFC North team, kind of don't have time to watch them, but I would love to, especially the Bears. I find their defense interesting. All right, they've walked one of the inside linebackers up here and left Roquan Smith as the Mike, and I think he gets a sack here. This delayed rush. Oh, I forgot this play. All right, this play pauses. I don't know. This is the L22. That play, for whatever reason, from the end zone angle, pauses a lot. This is the same play. All right, this is a 3rd and 5 on Washington's second possession. You can see the stunt, the blitz, somewhat similar to what we have done with Queen in the past. But to say he's just a blitzer, that's why I showed you guys some of the pass coverage stuff earlier. I don't think he's just a blitzer. I just think he's really good at it. I just think he's a guy who's good at blitzing and better in coverage than he gets credit for. And he's a bull running downhill. You can see that a guard tries to come down on him to no effect. Just runs through it. He's a phenom. The film shows a phenom. Let's put it that way. I'll leave open the possibility that he comes here and doesn't play well with the Ravens. I just don't see that happening. All right, the 3rd possession, I think, for Washington. Here's Smith. A run play for 1 yard or from the negative 1 yard line. Like I said, he's always at the bottom of the pile. Doesn't look like it at the beginning of the play. Let's rewind this back. This little downhill run action. There's D tackles involved there, right? And it looks like Roquan Smith, shouldn't be involved with the tackle. I think he's a guy that wants to be involved in every damn tackle. I do. It wasn't any pursuit there. That's just a scrum. Like, how many bodies can you count in here? And I don't know why. I don't know. Well, I do know why. Heart and among other things. But this guy looks like someone who always wants to be in the bottom or involved in those scrums. And he's a tremendous athlete. To me, that's a very unique combination. All right, play action stuff, RPOs. Yeah, I've seen him hedge his bets a little too much, like here. If you watched any of my breakdown from the Ravens pass game against the Bucs, you know that you got to have the fourth defender available. So this is the number 1 receiver. This is the number 2. This guy in motion is getting the ball, so let's call him number 3. The running back is going to cross the quarterback's face. Here is Roquan Smith. To me, he's the 4th defender. But in actuality, he's kind of like the 3rd. Look at the numbers, right? So he cannot take these false steps. He can't. Just numerically, he can't take those false steps. Because now you've got a 3-on-2 towards the sideline. Yeah, the sideline you can count the sideline as like a 1/4 of a defender or maybe half a defender in these situations, but not enough for him to do this. He's got to sit still and not give the quarterback a read. Make the quarterback decide something based upon getting no read. Sit still. And he'll do that here in a moment when you get a more typical RPO. Am I saying he's going to do that a ton against for the Ravens? I don't know. Haven't seen enough. More typical RPO here. Here is Roquan Smith, and you're going to get a little slant by this number 2 and the running back cross and face. And to me, this is a better example of how he wants to play it and how he generally will. Pretty much sitting still. You can see him. He does move his feet and then comes back toward the slant. So he starts to step to his right and then realizes that it's an RPO, steps back in what could be the lane of this slant here between the quarterback and that number 2 receiver. And then, oh, by the way, he makes the tackle on the other side of the field. That's the backside inside linebacker on an RPO read, making the tackle on the far side of the field. I'm not sure how to interpret that other than saying the guy's got unbelievable burst and a great motor. It's not like this is a one-time thing. It's often. All right, a run play. This time he's the front side inside backer. Again, unblocked. It does end up being like a 7-yard gain. It's Washington. There he is to the boundary. Got motion. Kind of stacks him over. Let me know what you think. I've given you maybe 10 plays from the Washington game, 10 plays from the New England game, some film from 2021. High-level defender against the run. Great blitzer. Whole lot better in pass coverage than people give him credit for. Very good tackler. More physical than I was led to believe by certain people. This is another unbelievable play by Jaquan Brisker, who's here. The tight end is cutting this edge player. Jaquan Brisker's going to hurdle the guy and then get involved with the tackle with Roquan Smith. I'll bring it back so you can see it a couple more times. There's Roquan Smith, chest to chest or chest to shoulder, and Jaquan Brisker after he's hurdled the blocker and the D-end getting involved with the play. All right, that's my look at Roquan Smith film from 2021 and 2022. Didn't intend for it to be 30 minutes. I don't know. I want to give you guys in-depth content. I want to try to deliver plays that show some balance. And, to be honest, like I said earlier, I want as many plays evaluated by me as possible to open myself up to the possibility of being wrong. And hopefully that will make me better in the long run, if I am. And then also, too, hopefully prove to you guys that I can evaluate the game accurately based on what I'm seeing without bringing any preconceived notions into it. If Patrick Queen had these plays on film, I'd be saying the same thing about him. But it is hard sometimes. You have a new player who we haven't seen the faults of, that we as Ravens fans haven't seen the faults of. So there may be some aspects to his game that are missing in this evaluation. I think he's a better pass defender than people give him credit for. Extremely high level awareness. Having the intelligence and awareness of Josh Bynes. The ability to fit run plays as consistently, even better than Bynes in a lot of cases. And then having better athleticism, stronger, better tackler. More agility than Patrick Queen. Total package, if you ask me. I think you should be excited as a Ravens fan. I am. Barring injury, the guy's going to have a huge impact for this team. Are the Ravens done? Should they be done? I don't know, man. I'm just giving you the intel, the evaluation or analysis on Roquan Smith. My opinion of him couldn't be higher right now. But, of course, we got a game to play in New Orleans 1 week from today, and we'll start to get our answers for real. Appreciate you guys' time.